Henry J. Ferri was born in 1923 in Turtle Creek, Pennsylvania, and was in his senior year in high school when the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. Like millions of other young men in the high school class of 1942, he enlisted in the Army not long after graduation. Henry trained as an amphibious combat engineer at Camp Swift in Texas. His training included clearing mines, building pontoon bridges, traffic control, familiarization with explosives, and, of course, getting into physical shape to withstand the rigors of combat. After completing his training, Henry was deployed to England, where he joined thousands of other soldiers making preparations for the D-Day invasion.
We had about, if I can remember, three or four training episodes going over to the coast of France and then coming back. It was always put in the front of the LSTs all the time. So this last time, I guess when they decided to have D-Day, we were late. For some reason, we just weren't there. But for this time, guess what? We didn't go to the front of the ship, the LCI at this point. We went to the rear. And that had a really significance in my life. So we started out, I can crawl about, I guess it's about 6:30 ago. And we're about half hour out, when they sent out a little memo saying this is the real thing.
Unknown to Henry at the time, his unit was destined to come ashore at the site of one of the deadliest battles of World War II, a lonely stretch of Normandy coastline codenamed Omaha Beach.
And even though we never really worried about it because we had air power, we had naval power, we had everything we needed. We thought, well, geez, they'll bomb the hell out of it, and we wouldn't have any problem at all.
Henry crossed the English Channel aboard an LCI, or Landing Craft Infantry. These steel-hulled boats were about 160 feet long and could carry up to 200 men. Designed to run up on the beach to offload troops using ramps located on either side of the bow, the LCIs would drop anchor hundreds of yards from shore, then use a winch to pull themselves back off the beach. This design feature, along with several remarkable strokes of luck, would eventually save Henry's life.
We got there about at 5:30 6. We stopped, and nobody, as I said before, none of us knew where we were going to be in the first wave or not. And we start moving. So we start moving, and I guess we're about maybe those machine guns on the hill could kill 500. So I figure we're at least about 500 yards from the top of the hill there. And we hit a mine. One of those big mines. Killed everybody in the front of the ship, or the LCI. And I was telling you, that's just what luck would have it. I was in a... So at that particular time, we were lined up. They have two entrances out of there. I was on the right one. And as we hit the mine, and then all of a sudden, the machine guns started coming out. So everybody on my particular, I happened to be on the end. And everybody in front of me got killed. There was an 88 that come through the galley. I don't know what happened. I just happened to just juke. Damn thing went right over my head, right through the galley. And all the sailors got killed, outside of one. Now, the LCIs had what they call a wedge thing back at the back. They could start it at the back, and they got on this sailor just happened to know how to do it. I wish I could thank the guy because he really saved our lives. Because they were still machine gunning us from the top up there.
Henry and his comrades were saved by the timely arrival of a Higgins boat, which pulled up alongside his sinking LCI. They climbed aboard and were delivered to the relative safety of the shore.
We were out, I forget how many yards we got out there, but we were sinking. And the question is, what do you want to do? You're going to shed your stuff? Because we carried about 75, 80 pounds of gear. Because we had gas masks, we had ammunition, we had all kinds of hand grenades. We had always carried 3 hand grenades. All this stuff we had. I said, do we get rid of it or try to swim them? And then you got to worry about hypothermia because of what it was cold. And that particular time, just by luck, here comes the Higgins boat. So that's all that solved that particular question. This the other thing that this guy, this Higgins guy, now we're talking now about, I guess, around maybe 7:30 or 8, maybe 8. I wish I could have remembered. I can't. He knew exactly where to take us because the Germans always, regardless of how, from what I understand, regardless of what kinds of protections they had, they always had a little road or a little trail coming down. And this is exactly where he brought us. And he brought us in, and guess who was on? We went in. Guess who was there? General Hogue, right at the bottom. He said, "Okay, guys, right up the front." And that's where we went to the hill. And about 9:30, they were going to call it off, and that's when we broke through.
Henry fought his way up the Coleville Draw and spent his first night in Europe in a foxhole not far from the beach.
But if ever have a guard duty, man, when you're in guard duty, you look at every silhouette that's there. And anything comes down the road, man, you don't ask questions. To this day, I'm like that. If I'm in a restaurant, I see where the exits are. I look at the people. I'm like, oh, I do. That's just a matter of learning that never leaves you.
The D-Day landings and subsequent Normandy campaign were successful thanks to the courage and commitment of soldiers like Henry Ferri, many of whom made the ultimate sacrifice. For his service in World War II, Henry received an honorable discharge and 4 Bronze Stars. After the war, he graduated from Carnegie Mellon University. He also earned a master's in education from the University of Pittsburgh and a degree in administration from the University of Connecticut before taking a job at Cumberland Valley School District, where he served for years as the Director of Pupil Services and Personnel. Henry passed away in 2018 at the age of 95.